All right. Well, welcome to our last nation call of 2025. This is crazy, y'all. I feel like, we were just like setting our New Year's resolutions and stuff, which I'll talk on some of that a little bit later. But what a year 2025 has been. It's been absolutely incredible. I want to start with some recognitions from November. November was an awesome month. Everybody was like loving the Black Friday deals. Our team did incredible numbers in sales. And I know that there were also like a couple of teams that had like individual challenges of like our team's going to do 200 orders or 150 orders or 100 orders, and so that was just fun to like cheer people on along the way as folks were going. But you guys, there's 21 people in our nation that's in qual for district manager right now. So 21 people that could possibly be promoting to the next level. And I want to give a very special shout out to Jennifer Dixon, who is in qual for area manager. And so on close day, she was about 1,600 away, and she was just like, I'm not letting this go. Like, this is the end of the year. This is the last of reduced quals. Like, she left no stone unturned. And you guys, this is just a testimony. I don't want to take her story because I know that she'll be sharing, with you guys when she promotes and finishes. But something that's just so powerful that I just have to share is as she was going, it's like 10:40 at night, on close night. And y'all know, like the ones that have been there, you're kind of like, okay, like ain't nothing else really happening. It's 10:40, people are going to bed. Like, I don't know who else I can like call or reach out to. And so she was just like, Ashley, I feel like I've like talked to everybody. Like, what else do I do? And so I was like, okay, let's get creative. Like, let's ask people if they'll post for you. Like, you can see who's still online on Facebook. Let's reach out to them. And then it was like, I'm looking at her numbers. She's just working, and I'm kind of keeping her updated. Okay, you got this, you got this. And then it was like, she still had like 1,400 to go. And she's like, I don't want to put like an order in that big, right? And we're like, no, don't buy your way to it. Like, you're good. We're going to sell this. We're going to sell. And she's working and working and working. She's like, nobody's responding. Nobody's hitting me up. Well, then it was like this massive boom, y'all, at like 11 something at night. She's like, all these people from work just started texting me for like work related stuff. And she's like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm closing out my online business. I'm going for this huge goal. Like, we take a look at my website. And you guys, she just started having orders come in. Like, it was crazy. It was like, okay, here's a girl that she had talked to months ago. She just placed an order. Here was a girl that said she was only going to buy like a box of fish. She was worried about the price, place like a $500 order. And so it was just like, this is what we talk about, like when you have a decided heart and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know that it's going to happen and I'm going all in and leaving no stone unturned. It's like the universe magically aligns for you and with you to go, we got you, because now we know that you're committed, right? And so it was just a cool story to see her like be able to experience that as well. So huge congrats to her for area qual. Christy and Trisha both earned bricks, and so they're gonna earn. They earned a gift from me for hitting their bricks, and then for bonuses, you guys, Christy and myself both got our district and our area bonus, so extra $400 for both of us, and then top three for our enrollment. So in third place was Regina Dawkins, so congrats to Regina. In second place was me, and then in first place, you guys, was Christy. And I have to brag on her because she personally enrolled 15 new clients or consultants last month. And so she was absolutely on fire, on a mission, and smoked all of us for the first place spot. So December specials rolling into December. We've got the free upgrade with 250. And y'all, this is what I'm running with, as well as the free PC sign up with 300 QV. And so, what I'm running with, my strategy for this month, is I'm looking back over the year. So, if you guys go into team details, you can see all of your PCs. And if you click on their name, you can see like over the years or over the months. I'm sorry, not over the years, some over the years, but over the months, what all they have ordered. And any of my clients that have placed a 250 QV order every couple months, every 6 months, once a year, whatever it is, I'm reaching out to let them know, hey, that order that you placed in October, if you placed that same order now and restocked, you could actually upgrade to consultant for free. And so I don't know if you are looking for anything extra, but we'll get 2 or 3 more paychecks before Christmas, and everybody's looking to get healthy right now. And so this is the time to become a wellness ambassador and earn some extra for the holidays. So that's kind of the verbiage that I'm using. If they're like, no, or they need to renew, or a prospect, then I'm running with the free PC sign up with 300 QV. So what I'm doing is the daily essentials bundle and adding in the 32-ounce water bottle. And then the clean tox is on the free gift list right now. So I'm telling them, add this bottle to it. That'll get you to the 300 QV mark, and then pick the clean tox as their free gift. Of course, they can pick whatever they want, but that's just a bundle that I've been putting together. Okay, couple more housekeeping things, then we'll get into the training. GTC registration is officially open. So if you've not yet registered for GTC, they have an incredible payment plan going on right now. And so you can sell a couple of essential bundles and have your payment plan. You can do 3 of those and be able to get in. This is the event of the year. So for those that have been, those that know, you know, and it's one of those things that, like, when you go, you're like, I never want to miss this again. I can never, ever miss this again. It's the event of the year. If you've never been, I'm going to just challenge you. Whatever the reasons have been over the years that you haven't been, you've been afraid, you don't know, you don't want to go. It's Vegas, it's big crowds, you don't know anybody, you're not sure how it'll work, budgeting, whatever it might be. Let's have a conversation. Like, actually reach out to me and say, let's have a conversation. This was something like a couple of years back that Sarah talked about. If you put $20 a week back between each GTC, you would have $1,000 and some change saved towards next year's GTC. And I know for a fact, like, Tara does that. Like, she's always got her little jar and she'll be putting $20 a week into her jar. And so there's like little ways that you can do these types of things. We usually split rooms. Like, I know Brianne drives, and so she's always going to bring like a blender. She's going to have like whatever you need her to bring. Brianne's got the hookup, but like, we can make it work, you guys. Like, I remember my first GTC. There were 3 other girls in the room. I knew one of them. I did not know the other 2. Like, who cares? We're only in there to shower and get dressed. Like, we're hardly in our room. You know what I mean? And so it was like, we brought blenders. We brought our protein. We ate sandwiches. Like, we did a little grocery run when we very first got there and got stuff for like ham sandwiches and PB&Js. And like, that was how we saved money that first year. And so there's so many ways to make it happen. There's also so many ways to make money as we go into GTC. So GTC is open, and then Arbonne incentive trip has been released. I hope that you guys were able to be on that live. We're going to Cap Cana, Dominican Republic, and I'm going to be full transparent. I didn't know what Cap Cana was. I was like, I don't know that Cana. I know Punta Cana. I don't know Cap. And so I had to look up what is Cap Cana, and apparently it's this super bougie, like, private resort area in Punta Cana that's like gated and has like private beaches, and it's gorgeous and it's incredible. And I'm not surprised because Arbonne always gives us the freaking best trips ever. So something that I love is that there's actually 2 ways that you can earn it this year. And Arbonne has never done this, y'all. Arbonne has never done this to be able to earn a trip. And so this is the year. If you've been like, okay, I fell short on the trips, or I haven't went for it because it felt too big, or whatever it might be, there's 2 ways to do it. One is through the traditional team building, so having promotions and your central district volume. And then the other way is strictly through sales. So you literally do not have to build your team. You do not have to help people promote. Like, you could 100% just be an affiliate or brand ambassador for Arbonne, sharing your link, making sales, and still earn this trip. And so that's pretty freaking cool that Arbonne's given us multiple ways to do it, because network marketing is changing, right? There's brand ambassadors for everything. And so this is a way to truly do it and still be able to earn a vacation. Tracy Schutz, our up line, is going to do a strategy call for AIT. And so I'm not going to deep dive into that, just because we're going to have her do a call for her entire success line on different ways that you can earn it. And then this is the last month, you guys, for our reduced qual. And so, like I was talking about, you know, how Jennifer Dixon left no stone unturned, because if you go into qual this month for whatever your next level is under the reduced quals, you can finish under the reduced calls in 2026. And so something that I heard Cecilia say that has just stuck with me is, she said, if you won't do it when it's less, what makes you think that you're going to want to work to do it when it's more? And that was just one of those, like, oof, okay. And so maybe this is the month that you go, I'm not playing small anymore. I'm freaking going for it, and I'm going to do it. And our training is going to cover kind of some of what that could look like. So rolling into the training, guys, I heard this podcast the other day. I had a whole other training for December that was all about end of year and getting ready for, knew your goals and everything. And I loved it. And I was like, okay, this is good. I've got this done. But then I heard this podcast, and the irony is it made me change my mind like that. And you'll know why it's the irony as I roll through the training. But this podcast was about, the title was, Are You a Hope Hustler? And so y'all have heard us talk about, are you a hope dealer, right? Like we're hope dealers. We get to deal hope to people. But this hope hustler, I was like, ooh, tell me more. I love hope and I love hustling. Like this sounds like me. I think I am a hope hustler, but tell me what it means. And so her kind of like little intro, she said, how many planners, programs, or systems have you bought over the years with a promise to yourself that this year is going to be different? And I was like, ooh, I felt a little attacked. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe some of you on here are going, oh, girl, me too. And so as I was listening, I immediately knew I've got to share this on the Nation Call. So if you heard that too, and you kind of felt this little sting of recognition, maybe you've already got your planner being done. Maybe it's in your Amazon cart right now. Maybe you've already bought it. You've already got your pretty markers and your stickers and everything for it because you're like, 2026 is coming. If you felt that little sting of recognition, get your pen, because you guys, this one might be a little bit uncomfortable. You might feel a little bit called out. We're all going to sweat. Like Maria said, she was already sweating and all of that. So like, we're all going to sweat a little bit, and that's okay, because I see myself so much in this too. And you might also be a hope hustler if you feel like you're someone who's addicted to that feeling of possibility. But when, struggles come, when that newness or that novelty kind of wears off and the real work begins. And so I think this is just such a timely thing to talk about because it's the end of the year, right? And like you guys, by the end of this month, when we've been to all the parties and all the things and all the events and all the socials, like we usually end our year like filled with regret, too much cheese, we've overspent, we're remorseful, all the things, right? And we tell ourselves like, okay, the new year's coming, and once this new year kicks in, I'm gonna whatever, get more organized. I'm gonna clean things up. I'm gonna get that thing. I'm gonna get that goal. I'm gonna chase that resolution. But we know the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. And so I want to speak to that person tonight. And so you might be thinking, yeah, maybe that's me. And here's the thing, this is a pattern that so many people get caught in because they'll see it and they'll recognize it, but they don't know how to get out of it. And so that's something that we're going to talk about tonight, is like when you find yourself kind of repeating that pattern over and over again, and you're just looking for that like feeling of a fresh new start, right? And y'all have heard me say it before. I love a fresh new month. I love a fresh Monday. I love a fresh year. Like I love the idea of a fresh start. That idea of starting over, it's like it gives me a dopamine rush. And so is there anybody else, or am I like talking to me? Okay, we've got a couple of head nods. So we get that like hit of it's a fresh plan. It's the thrill of a new routine. We get it every month in Arbonne, right? When we're like, what's the monthly specials? We're like logging on the first of the month. Like, what does Arbonne have for us? And you guys, it was so funny because Linda Parker at our VP retreat, she actually like did like this. Like, if you can imagine Linda Parker, she did like this, like she was smoking a joint, and she was like, we're like, what's Arbonne got for us? Like, what's Arbonne got for us? It's like we're looking for that next like hit. It was so funny to see the purity of Linda Parker like doing like this. It was hilarious. But we do that. We look for this thrill, right, of this newness, of this freshness. And so we buy a new book, we get a new journal, we get a new planner, we buy a new program, exercise equipment. If you're me, you buy new workout clothes all of the time because you're like, this is gonna motivate me to stay consistent in the gym when I have a cutie little matching set, right? Whatever it is, it's that addiction to the setting up of the thing that we want to pursue. I think a lot of us can remember when we first started Arbonne, right? And we were like, oh, like I need my little home office space. Like I need my office, right? And so then you want to get the cute little things for your pen to go in. You need some little file organizers. You want to get a little laminating set so you can print your little stuff out, right? And like, how much stuff do you maybe have that you're like, yeah, I never gave those samples out, never used that card, like never did any of that, right? I had a binder. You guys, I had a 3-ring binder of every single thing that was on the Preddy Nation. Mindy Preddy was my MVP when I started. Every single thing she had ever put in a guide or a file or anything, I printed it out in this 3-ring binder with like sheet covers. Why did I do that? Nobody told me to do that, but I just felt like I've got the binder. Do you know what I mean? And so we get this dopamine rush of the planning, the preparing, the getting ready to get ready. And so maybe you are like, nothing feels better than like buying a cute workout outfit to get started, or I'm going to buy this program, or I'm going to get this recipe book so I can start cooking more meals at home. Whatever it is, it's all well and good, but you guys, it's not sustainable. And most of us know that because we've done it and we fell off, and we've done it and we fell off, right? This like hope hustler is the person that's amazing at beginning things. Like, you're such a good beginner. You can start something like nobody's business. You can create the vision, you can get excited, but then once that novelty of new and exciting wears off, you're gone, right? It's like you disappear. And it's not because, the world will give you kind of this narrative of like, you don't want it bad enough. And I'll say that's even the way that I used to train. Like, I used to say things like that, like, oh, your discipline doesn't match your desire and things like that. The world will kind of tell you that. But I don't really think that desire has anything to do with this, because you can genuinely want to lose the weight, right? You can genuinely want to get organized. You can genuinely want to get your finances in order, improve your relationships, show up consistently, build a bigger social media presence, whatever it is. You can genuinely want to do it. You can invest in your skills, even. You can buy programs and listen to podcasts and self help books and all of the things. I think that the desire can remain steady, and our follow through has nothing to do with our desire, how bad we want something. But that's the narrative that we will usually default to. This is the key takeaway here, though, you guys. It's not that you don't want the result, it's that you don't like the process, right? We all want the result, but the process feels slow. It feels uncomfortable. It's less exciting. It's like once that novelty wears off, the mundane and the repetitive sets in. I always make the joke of how when I first started, I remember sitting on Sarah's couch crying because I was like, after I promoted my first month, and I was like, I have to do this all over again. I have to do this every month. Every month we start back at zero. Like, I hated looking at my dashboard on day one because I was like, this is horrible. That repetitive sets in. And so if this is you, you're probably a fellow hope hustler. Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm a hope hustler. But a great definition is a hope hustler is the person who loves the idea of changing their life, the idea of changing their life. And you guys, so many times when I talk to people, like, I'll be like, do you actually want that goal, or do you want the idea of that goal? Like, for example, I was talking to this prospect the other day, and you guys, every single thing she said pointed to Arbonne. Y'all ever meet those people that you're like, this will fix every problem that you have in your entire life? Like, literally, like your relationships, your health, your money, your mindset, the community, every single thing that you need, it's Arbonne. It's right here. It's in this box here. Take this gift, right? And she was asking about the money, right? How much income we can earn, earnings.arbonne.com, in case somebody's recording me. But right, it's like she said, for this to be worth it to me, I would need to make six figures a year. And I said, okay, we can do that. And then she was like, do you make six figures a year? I said, I do, earnings.arbonne.com, right? And she said, oh, give me all of your secrets. Okay, well, first off, the secrets don't exist. There's not a secret, right? But I said, if you're willing to do all of the things that I did, you could get what I got. Like, but that's the part, right? She wants the result, but she's not so crazy about the process. And so, then I start getting into the process. Hey, my first 37 events were duds. My first 17 in-person events had no one show. I got 137 no's before I got a yes. Like, I worked from 3 a.m. to midnight. Like, I probably slept 4 hours a night for 21 months of my business. And then she was like, oh, yeah. Okay, right? Do you see what I'm saying? And so it might look different for everybody, but most people aren't going to be like, oh, that process sounds amazing, but the result does. People have this fantasized idea of whatever it is. I want to make multiple six figures. I want to lose the weight, whatever it is. They're in love with the idea of it. But when it comes to the actual work, the effort, the grind, the process of it, they're not in love with the process. We're not in love with the process. And so it's like, in that, we're in love with the idea sometimes of change in our life. And we can buy the tools, the apps, the planners, the courses. I guarantee that somebody, at least one of us on this call, and if it's not you, then fine, it's me, has this like pile of purchases of unused things that you bought in this moment of wanting to start something new, right? It's like your dopamine stash. It's this ecstatic state of like this new exciting you're doing. Like, it's you get that burst of motivation, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And maybe you will, and you'll do it great for 3 days, 4 days, 7 days. But then that newness wears off and you start to lose the steam. And what happens is we kind of get that all or nothing approach. People that are hope hustlers, we kind of have that all or nothing approach. It's either like, I'm going to change every single thing about my life. Like, for example, we think about the new year's coming. We've got clients that are going to want to get healthy. I've got this girl that, okay, I've been in this business for 9 years, you guys. Every January, she's done the 30 days to healthy living. Ask me how sustainable and consistent she is every other month of the year than January. It's horrible, right? That's why she has incredible results every single January, because she doesn't do anything for herself for February through December. And so we were kind of talking about this after I listened to this podcast. I was like, I need to have a difficult conversation with her. And so I said, hey, Jane, what are your goals for this year? And she said, this is the year that I implement everything. And I said, I'm going to stop you right there because you're going to fail again. Because every year you say that. And she starts laughing, right? And I'm like, what do you think that I'm going to tell you to do? And she's like, you're going to tell me to find one thing and master that. And I was like, that's it. That's it. Like, can you take the greens every single day? Like, can you just stick with taking the greens? Can you just stick with a protein shake every single day, right? Because so many times people will be like, oh, I need a total overhaul. And they'll jump into, the full shebang. They jump into our 30 days. They buy an exercise program. Like I'm resetting my whole life on January 1st. And we get this all or nothing idea thinking that, okay, 100% is the standard. So if I only gave 80%, then I'm failing, right? And then we'll shame ourselves. That shame comes in and we're like, well, why even bother? I can't even stick with it. I need to start over. You guys, this is the same with our Arbonne business, right? Like, think about our daily methods for success sheet, right? So many people will say, I need to relaunch. I just need to start over. And it's like, why? Can you just fill out the daily methods for success sheet every single day? And if you can't, if you didn't fill the whole thing out completely every single day for an entire year, that doesn't mean you throw it all away, right? How many days in a row do we usually not finish it and then we'll just throw in the towel? But the reality is, if you did something on that sheet, even if it's not everything, if you did something on that sheet every day for a year, your business will grow, period. Like, I truly believe that. And so I can't even tell you how many people always have that start over mentality. I have fell into this so much. It's like, no, you're going to keep going. You're not starting over. You're just going to keep going. And so we will feel that shame and we'll throw it all out. And this is what I think, right? These are guilt-driven goals. They're guilt-driven goals. And so it's like we create enough distance between from our shame, and then time passes. And then that shame is slowly replaced by scarcity thinking. It's replaced by self-inflicted pressure. It's replaced by the urgency of wanting to, fix something, or like, I need the new thing again. Or you go into that cycle where you're like, okay, fine, I'm going to do it this time. I need a new notebook and I need a new strategy and whatever it might be. I need a new cup for my protein shakes that's cuter, that I can post more pictures in, right? Like, we will justify those types of things. And this is some good news, you guys. One of the things that the girl said on the podcast, she said she had like a psychologist on there that was talking about this and said, this is not a laziness problem and this is not a motivation problem. To me, that was good news, because I was like, oh my gosh, when I fall into this, it's like I'm lazy, or I'm not motivated, or I'm not disciplined enough, or I'm a fraud, right? I think of that all the time. I'm a fraud. Like, I tell people to do this, and then if I don't follow through, then I'm a fraud, right? But she said everybody thinks it's a motivation problem, and that thinking that it's a motivation problem is a bigger problem, because what happens is when you think it's a motivation problem, you go right out to seek that dopamine hit from more motivation. You're like, I just need to attend another training. I need to listen to a podcast. I need to read a book. It's like you're seeking that dopamine hit again. And what you need to do, what will actually work better, is you learn to work from a different place, not working from dopamine, but you're working from, this is a place of alignment. This is a place that I get to serve people. This is a place that I have value. This is a place where I can build in one daily habit. And if I just do one thing every single day, that's going to get me closer to my desired goals, right? And even if you're the person that's like, I'm willing to put in the reps, like, I'll build that muscle memory. I can stick with the process even if it's not fun. You still might have some hope hustler in you, because here's the thing. we all like thrive on this idea of transformation, but most of us struggle with the implementation or the embodiment of transformation. We all thrive on the idea of transformation, but we struggle with the implementation. Even the most disciplined, right? Like, unless you're David Goggins, you struggle with discipline. Like, he's just something different, right? Or maybe Jared too. Like, you struggle with discipline. But, it's such good news that like that this is not laziness, right? And it's not a lack of motivation. The idea of transformation is sexy. Like, we love it. Like, think about, The Biggest Loser, or think about TV shows, even the surgery shows. Do y'all ever watch like the surgery shows, like the plastic surgery, and you see the before and after? Like, we love seeing the transformations. We love seeing somebody that lost 200 pounds. We love seeing, a postpartum mama that is like grinding and it's messy every day in the gym. And then all of a sudden she has this incredible physique. We love to see it. But that messy middle that they're living, we don't love that. That's where we struggle, right? We struggle with how to actually embody and stay in the process of transformation. And you've got a lot of odds against you because the world wants a quick fix, right? We're the society that sells fast and easy. We don't ever say, hey, sign up for this. It's slow and it's sustainable. That doesn't sound nearly as sexy. We fall into it in our own. Like, look at these 7-day results. Look at these 30-day results, right? Even though those are transformations, it's still quick, right? And so what if you posted and said, hey, I've got this great health program, but it's going to be slow. It's going to be not sexy. It's probably not going to be fun, right? Like, that doesn't sell. Do you see what I'm saying? And so we've got that kind of wrecking us as a society. We've got everything at our fingertips, everything so readily available. And I do think that this instant gratification in so many things, it's destroying our ability to put in the time and effort for the things that are actually worthwhile. And here's a big spoiler alert. Isn't this like the most motivating training you guys have ever had? You're like, wow, way to end the year, Ash. As an entrepreneur, you're going to live most of your life in the messy middle, like in that messy middle. And I actually think that we're going to start seeing more and more people struggling with following through on their goals. Like, when New Year comes, they set resolutions because we are such an instant gratification culture. And this is why people are vulnerable to this pattern. We're wired for intensity and we're wired for big vision, not the good kind of big vision, but we value as a society intensity over intentionality. We want intensity over intentionality. We think like we've got to go big. And the world sells you that, right? Like, you think about all the gurus that are like, go big or go home. And, like entrepreneur's version again of like trying to overhaul your entire life in a day. And it's like, we need to start taking into account our starting point. And so I want you to think about this. What if a client hits you up right now and they're pretty sedentary, and you start talking to them about their health goals and they're like, I don't do anything, like I might get 2,000 steps a day on like a very active day. Most of that's walking to the fridge, walking to the pantry. Like, I sit on the couch, I watch TV all day, I kind of binge. But next month, I want you to coach me to be able to run a marathon. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Would you be like, let's dial it back a little bit, right? Like, I would be like, that might break your body. That's probably not smart. How about, if your average steps are 2,000 a day, why don't we just try to get your average steps up to 4,000 a day and let that be your one habit that you build in? And then you build on that and build on that and build on that, right? And so we have a chance right now as we go into the new year. So many people are wanting to get healthier. We've got the chance to truly coach people well, you guys, like to be the difference makers, to not be the people that are just trying to sell something that's faddish and just trying to make some New Year's money, but to truly transform lives, to truly change people's health and wellness, to truly build trust and loyalty. As a consultant, I think I've told y'all this story before, but I remember one time Cheney Tisdale, she was a brand new consultant on my team, and we were doing this launch event with her, and she had about 20 people on a Zoom call, and every one of these people worked for a law firm, get this, that sues people for having toxic ingredients in their products, misleading toxic ingredients in their products. 20 people from this law firm that all wanted to hear about Arbonne. I was a nervous wreck. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I got to get all of this right. So I'm doing this presentation, and the lady goes, okay, I think that there's at least 14 of us on this call as we're all talking in the office that want to do the 30 days to healthy living. Okay. Now, Here's the ethical dilemma, right? Is on one hand, you know good and well that you're going cha-ching, cha-ching, like 14 people doing the 30 days to healthy living. Hello. And this is something that was so incredible that I just saw so much leadership. Cheney said, we'll go individually and see what works best for each person, because although the 30 days can be incredible for everybody, I want to make sure that you have the best results. And she specifically called out one of the people that she kind of knew and had a relationship with. She said, Trish, you need to start with just the greens drink. And I'm sitting there thinking, this girl is downselling all of her clients, right? And I remember having like a little heart palpitation, like, why would she do that? But as I listened to her talk, she said, you've got to be able to maintain that one healthy habit. And then we'll add in protein after you've been able to do that for a solid 2 weeks straight, because I want you to get the most bang for your buck. And I know that you'll get incredible results if you let me coach you well. And I was just like, dang, she taught me, she's brand new consultant. I'm an MVP. She taught me there's a better way to serve people, right? And so it was just like, we have that chance to do that, to talk to people about the one habit. Because you guys, this is true for our clients, our prospects, and you guys, this is true for us too. Most people don't need an entire overhaul. They need a simple tweak. They need a simple tweak. And that's what most of us need in our business. Most of us need in our mindset. Most of us need for the goals that we're chasing. We don't need an entire overhaul. We just need a simple tweak. But when I tell you that, you might have some resistance to that, right? Like, no, I want to do more. I want to do all of it, because our pride comes in and we're like, well, that doesn't sound sexy to just say, well, I did do 2,000 steps and now I do 4,000. Like, that doesn't sound great. Or it doesn't, what are your New Year's goal? Oh, I'm adding in a greens drink. Like, people like to say, oh, I'm doing this full, blah, 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 right? And sometimes we think it's not sexy enough and it needs to be bigger. And our nervous system tends to want speed over sustainability, because speed is a form of urgency. And I'm going to tell you guys, success loves speed, but it loves sustainability even more, because we've seen it. We've seen it in our time in Arbonne, right? That you see somebody go super, super fast and then they completely fall off. You're like, well, where did they go? Where did this person go? Where's that person? We think again that our like nervous system wants to propel us out of discomfort as quickly as possible. And so like, you think if you're running, if you see a grizzly bear, you don't want to like slowly walk away from the grizzly bear. You want to sprint away from the grizzly bear, right? And like, the grizzly bear can be a synonym for whatever thing that's causing you pain or that your nervous system doesn't like right now. It could be, I hate that I feel this way. Whatever it is, you want to ease that feeling as quickly as possible. And so we can mistake progress with adrenaline because of this. Are you following me? Like, we can mistake progress with adrenaline. It's like, if we don't feel like our body's just vibrating with excitement, we sometimes don't know how to work without that, right? It's like, oh, like it's not that fun anymore. It's not that thrilling anymore. Or the newness is worn off. And I can relate to that. You guys, this is something like I remember talking to my therapist is, what does it look like? Like, for me, like detoxing from my career in the military, it was so fast paced all of the time. Like, what does it look like to pursue my goals from a really grounded place? Like, I don't know. I've never done that in my life, right? This past probably like year and a half has been the first time that I've really tried to do this. And there's this other entrepreneur that I follow, and she talks about this concept. I love the way this sounds, of success sobriety. It's like when you're addicted to success and you have to sober up from it. And it basically means like, how do I pursue and achieve things from a place of mental and emotional sobriety, not a place where my adrenaline is always through the roof, where I'm like buzzing with that high energy all the time. Because I know me, and you know you well, you're probably going to burn out from that way. And we're vulnerable to this because we can look at excitement as commitment. Right? Like, oh, I'm excited about it, so that means I'm going to be committed to it. And they're very different things. Like, you talk to any married couple, the newlywed phase, it's exciting. It's exciting to get married, right? But when that newness wears off, that's when you start to learn what commitment is, because marriage isn't always exciting. In fact, you have to create that excitement. Jared's probably saying ours is, baby, don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's talking about. No, you are. But it's like, yes, there's some level of excitement, but like, some days you have to work a little harder for it than others, right? It's the same in our business. It's like, there's going to be a day that you're just like, this is not fun. And you're not getting that dopamine hit, and it's not going to give you the novelty. It's not going to give you that feedback and that excitement of like, I'm going for a big goal, or I'm new at this and it's so fun and exciting. And if you're someone that has thrived in chaos your whole life, and you've learned to operate, and you have to learn to operate in an environment that's safe and stable and secure and non-chaotic, that takes a whole level of recalibrating to that new environment, because when you learn to operate outside of chaos, it's almost like calm feels unsafe. Does that make sense? It's because you're so used to chaos, not calm. Hello, all of my military folks on here. You guys, when you're like in a state of calm, you're like, surely there's about to be a shoe drop, right? Like something's about to happen. Have y'all ever like had a day that you were just going and it was like calm and quiet and nothing happened? And you're like, this feels too good to be true. Like a kid hasn't fell in the sewer, like nobody's broke a bone, like nothing insane has happened. And then you think, well, something's brewing, like something, like something's about to hit the fan, something's going to blow up. And so we have to recalibrate how we operate in life, and we get this like emotional high from these false promises that we make to ourselves, like this time's going to be different. And I want you to think about this, just a reflection point, maybe now or when we get off the call. Every time that you have said, like, this is going to be the time that I actually follow through, right? Or this is going to be the time that I do it, or I go all in, or whatever it is, just check in with yourself, because it's very rarely have I ever said that from a grounded, or as that other girl says, sober minded place where I'm emotionally calm, I'm collected, I'm calibrated. No, it's usually like my speech is really rushed, I'm this excited wired place, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it, this year's going to be insane, like we're going to freaking blow it up. Like that's usually my voice and my energy when I'm doing it. I'm not like, this year's going to be different. Do you see what I'm saying? And so you've got to check in with yourself. And my challenge for you guys is to get really good at building in the mundane. And the reason why, it's going to set you apart from 99% of other entrepreneurs, even because very few people have tolerance for mundane. That's for mundane. That's why you'll always hear me say, master the monotony, master the monotony, master the monotony, right? Like I've said that so many times, but you think about how everything in your life, you're pretty much able to move around or multitask with it. Some of y'all are doing it on the call right now. Like we habitually, I'm not calling you out, I promise. Lori's like, shut up. But like we habitually multitask. Like most of us are like, we don't have the attention span to do it. We don't know how to tolerate stillness or repetition or mundane, especially in today's culture where we are this in this like attention deficit economy. And you guys, this is why marketers and marketing, something that they're always working on is like, how do we get someone's attention? How do we get their attention, right? You've heard people train on like, stop them in their scroll. Like you got to have kind of a controversial tagline so that people go, ooh, what is this? How do you get somebody's attention when the average attention span is less than 3 seconds, you guys? A year ago, it was 12 seconds. Now it's less than 3 seconds is the average person's attention span. So if we have an attention span of less than 3 seconds, how are we going to give our goals the attention that they need on a daily basis, especially when it's mundane or it's not working yet? And the answer is you've got to build your tolerance for this messy middle that is mundane and that is hard, because that is where you're skilling up. That's where you're learning and you're mastering the skills in order to get to where you want to go. That skilling up, it's a phase. It's not sexy. It's hard. You have to learn a lot about yourself. One of the things with Hope Hustlers is they're not addicted to the change. And that's what a lot of people think. This was an interesting concept on the podcast, is they're actually not addicted to change, where you might see, where it looks like they're always trying to do something new or have a new strategy or have a new program or jump to another company, whatever it might be. They're not addicted to the change. They're addicted to the feeling of possibility. And so think about that. Hope hustlers are addicted to the feeling of possibility. But when that feeling fades and the discomfort starts to creep in, your brain goes searching for that next place that's going to provide you that newness, that excitement, that dopamine. Do you see what I'm saying? And so this is like that whole burnout cycle. And so I'm going to walk you through it. It starts with inspiration. You're inspired, you're fired up, you feel clear, you feel ready. You're like, yeah, this is it. And then you go from that really emotionally high place, that high energy in your body, and you go and you create your plan and you get your highlighters and you get your planners. And not only do you go and create a plan, you go buy stuff. Like you go shopping for stuff. You get the books and you get the highlighters and you get all of the things, and you're like, this is the thing that's going to make it stick. But no, because you are the person who uses the thing. Does that make sense? Very rarely is the tool the problem. It's the person implementing or not implementing the tool. And so you go and you create the plan, you buy the things, and you start strong, you feel incredible, and then reality hits in, right? Reality kicks in. Now your excitement has faded, and now commitment and consistency is required of you. And now the kids are sick, and the dog ate something, and the work schedule changed, and someone needs you for X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank. And so then you stop doing the thing because you got to deal with all of the other things. And then you go to start doing the thing again, but it's not brand new anymore. And so you're kind of like, meh. And your nervous system will kind of resist this boredom because it feels flat or it feels slow or it feels uncomfortable. And this is where we start telling ourselves stories. This isn't fun. This is hard. Maybe this isn't for me. I could be doing other things with my time. This should be easier by now. I've been in Arbonne X, many years. I should be a blank by now. Why is this working for everybody else and not for me, right? This is where these stories start to hijack your ability to show up. And so in that resistance, when things get hard, people misinterpret the resistance as failure or a sign that something has gone wrong. And then they shame themselves to fall into that shame cycle for being like that. Like, it shouldn't be this hard. And I'm going to tell you, like, no, 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 no. Resistance is a very normal, healthy part of the process. Like, resistance is how we build our tolerance. It's how we build our muscle. It's no different than in the gym. You can't build muscle without resistance. You have to strain. You have to put pressure on it. You can't build your consistency muscle or our implementation muscle without that resistance, right? And so we fall into this resistance. We think that it's failure. And then we have these quiet little quits, like the micro quits, the micro negotiations that you make. You tell yourself, like, you know what, now it's just a really crazy season. Like, it's Christmas. Like, once I kind of get through this, and then I'll start fresh on the new year, or I'll revisit this when the kids are out of school or whatever, right? And you guys, I'm going to tell you this. We say all the time, like, I'm going to do this when XYZ happens because we think life's going to be less crazy. I'm only 41 years old, you guys, but I've learned this. Life is never going to not have some crazy. Like, it's just never. If any of you have lived your life with no crazy, then, like, please tell us the secrets. But it's just going to continue to be this complex thing that requires different things from me. And so I've just accepted that, like, there's always going to be chaos. There's always going to be some craziness. There's always going to be some things happening in my life that demand a lot from me, but it's seasonal. And that doesn't mean that it ends, because the season never ends. The seasons just change, right? So some seasons it's going to require more of my time. And some seasons it's going to require more of my energy. And some seasons it's going to require more of my emotions. And so we've got to stop telling ourselves this lie that it's going to slow down and it's going to get simpler or it's going to get easier, because it's just not on its own without, like, our life will intentionally slow down when we intentionally create a plan to slow it down and rebuild things around our life. But even then, even if we had the perfect, like, slow your roll, so much white space, kumbaya time, total self-care time, even then, even if we had that, life is still going to life. Things are still going to pop up. Impact is still going to hit. And what you don't want to happen is to stay stuck in this cycle. And then what are you going to do? Go find something new, whether it's a book, a podcast, a coach, a planner, a system, a habit. So you see what I mean? Like, this is a cycle. And so hope hustlers become addicted to hope. It's like a hope addiction. You're addicted to the feeling of hope and possibility. And we stay in this cycle. We go chase the next thing that gives us a sense of hope for our future, hope for our health, hope for ourselves, hope for our family. And that alone, like, doesn't sound bad, right? It actually kind of sounds amazing. But what happens is it's actually this cocktail of dopamine seeking, where we're looking for the high of newness because, and this is where it gets deep, when we want that dopamine hit all the time, it's because it temporarily provides relief from other emotional weight that we're carrying. Mm. And that one's heavy. And so when you're dopamine seeking, it's the avoidance of your current discomfort or emotional discomfort. And so that real process of transformation, it's going to demand patience and tolerance and tolerating the feeling of that all of us are vulnerable about not being good at something, like not being good at something yet. How about that? Building a tolerance for, like, okay, I used to be an A+ student at this thing, and somehow in Arbonne I'm a C-. You know what I mean? Or I'm used to being a high achiever, or I kill it at my job, but I feel like I cannot wrap my head around this. And so it's like, are you willing to be a beginner again? Are you willing to suck at something new? because we have to be very careful, you guys, not to let our pride and our ego take our dreams out from under us. And that's what this cycle will do. It will keep you in this cycle of looking for that next thing, the shame cycle, and then those micro quits, and on and on and on. So this was pretty cool. We've got to know and understand that each one of us has a very unique stress response with how we pursue these things and how we handle stress. And so the podcast talked about 4 different types of handling stress with this. There's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so you can put in the comments which one you are. A fight type pursues their goals very differently than a flight, a freeze, or a fawn type. And so hope hustling for each type is different, but a fight type, they will overplan, they'll overcommit, they'll overcompensate, and they almost always burn out because they'll likely reach the goal, but it's going to come at a great cost. And then they have to go into a season of burnout recovery. And then they're like, I don't know if I want to pursue that goal again because that was hard. So that's the fight type. The flight type will make a plan and they'll stay in it until it gets uncomfortable. And then they'll start procrastinating. They'll avoid the hard work. They'll be easily distracted. And so flight types are more prone to constantly changing the plan and seeking that newness because they don't want to face or feel what that process is actually requiring of them. And then the third is the freeze type. They're just going to overthink everything. They're going to overthink the steps. They're going to be constantly like optimizing the plan, but never implementing the plan. They're just going to be overthinking, over optimizing, making it better. It's like the analysis paralysis, right? Like I'm analyzing this and I'm doing my studies and I need to know every single ingredient in every single product before I make my first post. And that inaction is where they are going to get caught up. And then the fourth is our fawn, FAWN types, and they'll commit to a system as long as it's not a burden to anybody else. Or they'll talk themselves out of the goal and somehow be like, oh, I'm selfish for this, or this is an inconvenience to other people. Or they'll commit to goals that aren't even theirs. They'll just call their upline and say, what should my goals be? And upline will say, hey, do this. And they'll go, okay. And they'll just think that it's expected of them. Somebody will hand it to them and they'll just be like, okay, I guess I'll do it, instead of ever thinking of like what it is that they want to do for themselves. So to kind of wrap this up is, I don't want to gloss over this because this is not a mindset problem. It's a regulation problem. It's when we're dysregulated in our nervous system. When our dysregulation hits, the novelty wears off and you manage your stress around that. And we'll go into those default patterns. I love it. Tina's like, I'm a combo. Like I'm all for, you know what I mean? Like, let's go. And so we will like, start to manage our stress and we'll go into one of those default patterns. But the bigger problem here is that there's a huge cost with this. And the biggest one is that it's going to erode your self-trust. You guys, you're going to not trust you anymore. Your brain actually, eventually with time, when you do this enough, your brain will not even let you set clear goals because you're going to be like, wow, I'm just going to suck at it anyway. And so you don't ever follow through. And so if you're a person that you're thinking of what should my goals be for 2026, right? Like you're thinking of it and you're having a hard time thinking of it, you've probably lost some trust with yourself. And when your self-trust erodes that much, you get that why bother mentality. And so you just stop and you tell yourself like, mediocre is good enough, right? Or every time you're like, okay, here's the plan, but in the back of your mind, your brain's like, yeah, that's the plan and it sounds good, but you're just going to quit on Monday, right? Another one, a hidden cost, is people will confuse busyness or movement with progress. Like they're busy and they're doing things, but they're not actually moving towards their goal because they're not like actually focused on the one habit that they need to build every single day, right? And so we're going to burn so much emotional energy on these false starts, you guys, and people stay in this cycle and then they start to live in chronic shame. And every restart just proves to them, see, I know that I suck. I'm not good enough. It's proof of failure, proof that I'm not worthy, and we can't follow through. It's like chasing this illusion of momentum, but never actually creating real momentum in your life. And I could go into a whole nother sermon for that, but basically, it's just noise until you actually learn what it means to be somebody who can learn to tolerate discomfort in your body while you're in the messy middle. Does that make sense? And so transformation is uncomfortable, period. Like it's not comfortable. It feels awful. Like transformation sucks. It's hard. It sucks. It's not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's not fun. That messy middle is the part of the story nobody likes to hear. We don't like to hear that messy middle part until we see somebody win. It's like the underdog movies, right? You see somebody that had to like climb through the trenches and everything, and you're like, just get to the part where they win again. I think of that scene, Brie, what's the movie, the football movie where he's doing the death crawl? Do y'all know what I'm saying? And he's like, carry him on your back and like do the death crawl. And it's like you get emotional watching him do it, but you're also, there's a part of you that's like, hurry up and get to the part where he wins. Because we only like to see the part where somebody wins, not the messy middle. And so, how do we do it? How do we get out of this? I promise I'm wrapping it up, you guys. We've talked about the cost, the signs. So, what do you do? Well, first, you've got to increase your tolerance for boredom. And that like I'm sure I would be like a black sheep for doing this training because people are like, why would you be training entrepreneurs on how to be more bored? But you've got to increase your tolerance for boredom. And I would say to do this outside of your goals. And so maybe when you're sitting still somewhere quiet, instead of just default picking up your phone and scrolling, sit and look around and be like, I'm bored and I'm going to sit here bored for 5 minutes. And what you're going to do is increase your capacity for mundane and boring. Like it's a simple habit, but I'll tell you guys, if you try to do it, you'll be like, that 5 minutes feels like an hour. It will feel so hard to not just doom scroll or fill your head with something for 5 minutes. And if you can do that in other areas, you're going to start to build your tolerance elsewhere. There's an awesome book. If you really want to disrupt yourself, it's called The Comfort Crisis. It's not like a very easy or fun read, I'll tell you this, but it's about a lot of things like getting out of your comfort zone. And so it's learning to not chase novelty and excitement 24/7. I would also say take your plan, whatever plan it is that you're kind of brewing in your mind, or maybe you don't even have anything yet. But if you've got things that you know you would like to go into 2026, like accomplishing and have goals about, I'm going to say this, and I'm like, I know that this is not going to be popular at all. Take your plan and make it way smaller than it is. And normally I would train on big vision, big goals, big massive. And while we can still have that massive vision for our business, we need to actually execute on a doable scale, because you guys, when you can do that and you make it smaller and doable, that's going to regain that self trust that most of us have probably lost with ourselves, right? The next thing is stop looking for the silver bullet. My God, stop chasing the perfect system. Like, just be so okay with the messy middle and living in that middle phase where you literally think nothing is happening. And oftentimes when you look at numbers, dashboard, promotions, enrollments, whatever, it might be true. If you're on a health journey, the scale might not be moving, your bank account might not be moving, your Instagram account might not be growing, but you're changing. You're changing. This is where we almost always see these intangible results before we see the tangible results. And so maybe you don't see the change externally yet, but you know that you're becoming a different person in the process. And then finally, the next thing, you guys, is we've got to redefine success as this idea of its continuity. And so what I mean by that is it's not a sprint, it's not intensity. You've got to define how you personally pursue transformation, but just know that it's not an overnight process. And so the final thing is do something that makes you very uncomfortable. Like, this is my challenge to you for this month. Like, before this month ends, do something that makes you very uncomfortable. Maybe it's booking an in-person event. Maybe it's doing 100 reach outs this month. Maybe it's deleting an app off of your phone that you're addicted to in not a good way, right? Like, maybe it's reaching out to somebody and having a hard conversation with them that you've been avoiding. Maybe it's something in the fitness world, but what is something that you go, oof, I don't want to do that. Like, that makes me uncomfortable. If it's freezing cold where it is that you are, maybe it's getting up and going for a jog in the morning outside. Like, do something that makes you uncomfortable and you'll start building that muscle. And you guys, I heard this quote the other day and I think it's so good. I'm going to share with you. It said, when you become somebody who intentionally does hard things, when you're somebody that intentionally does hard things, you become somebody who can handle hard things when they unintentionally happen. Isn't that good? When you become somebody who intentionally does hard things, you'll grow into somebody who can handle hard things when they unintentionally happen. And so think about that. Think about building that resilience, that grit when things are happening to you or things that you didn't sign up for. Like, you don't want to feel hit by a bus every single time. But if you intentionally put yourself in the way of hard things, you become somebody who's better conditioned, better equipped, has that greater capacity for when hard things come your way, not by choice. And so, I'm going to close off with this. This was something that, if you guys follow Andy Frisella, He's the CEO of First Form, and he did the 75 Hard. He's the creator of 75 Hard. He also has a podcast that, if you don't mind like an F bomb being dropped every 2 seconds, it's an incredible, podcast for leadership. But he sends out these emails, and I love his emails. But he said this the other day: most people head into January with high hopes and expectations for the new year. They'll make a resolution, they'll give it a half bleep effort for 2 weeks, then fall right back into their previous habits and routines that keep them stuck exactly where they are. Hello, do we feel seen? So if you're someone who made a resolution for 2025, how's it going? And if you've kept your promise, that's awesome, and you should be very proud. Keep moving. But if you haven't kept your promises, what's preventing you from starting to keep them today? Winners don't make resolutions, they make commitments, and then they stick to them. They don't sit around and wait for permission or the perfect time to get started. They do it now, not on Monday, not on January 1st, not on the start of a new month, not when things settle down or get slower, now. So I'm going to ask you guys, why can't you? What's the one habit that you need to make, or the one habit that you need to break? What's the one uncomfortable thing that you need to implement to get that jump start and roll into 2026, already creating some more of that self-trust with yourself and creating a true system that is sustainable, that's simple, that's executionable? Because this is another hard truth. If you actually wanted to change, you wouldn't wait to start making it. You wouldn't wait to start taking those steps. You'd start today, because there's not going to be a perfect time. And so let's not lock ourselves in this same cycle as everybody else, right? Like, let's start now. Let's make the change and stick with it. And you guys, I'm going to be right here doing the work with you every single day, every step of the way. And I truly think that we can close this year out 10 times stronger than the mindset that we had going into it. And when we roll into January of 2026, it'll be just coasting on the momentum that we start to create this month. And so let's do it now. Let's do it uncomfortable. Let's do it awkward. Let's be new again. Who cares if we're C- students? Let's do one thing every single day. And I would love you guys, if when I post the recording of this, if you would drop in the comments, what's the one habit that you're going to start implementing? Or if you want to be very vulnerable, what's the one habit that you're going to start breaking? And so I love you guys so much. Let's close this year out incredible. And I look forward to 2026 with you guys.